The restaurant was crowded that evening, filled with the clatter of plates, the low hum of conversations, and the smell of fried food hanging thick in the air. It was the kind of place where people came to forget their problems for an hour. For Lena, it was where her problems followed her. She balanced a tray in trembling hands, exhaustion written across her face. It was her third double shift this week. The tips had been poor and the rent was overdue again. At home, her 2 children waited with empty stomachs and a fridge that held little more than water and hope. As she reached table 7, disaster struck. The glass slipped. It shattered loudly at the feet of the Coustmer, a well-dressed man in an expensive jacket. The entire restaurant went silent. I'm so sorry, Lena gasped, her face draining of color. It was an accident. I'll clean it up right away. The man stood abruptly, anger flashing across his face. Do you know how much this suit costs? He snapped, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. Lena felt her knees weaken. She'd seen scenes like this before. Customers shouting, managers deducting pay, sometimes worse. Please, she whispered, her voice breaking. Don't hit me. I didn't mean to. It was a mistake. The words slipped out before she could stop them. The man froze. Lena swallowed hard, tears filling her eyes. My kids are hungry, she continued softly. I just need this job, please. I'll pay for the glass. I'll do anything. A heavy silence settled over the room. Forks hovered mid-air. No one spoke. The man looked down at her, really looked this time. Her worn shoes, the faded uniform, the dark circles under her eyes that no amount of makeup could hide. I wasn't going to hit you, he said slowly, his anger fading into something else and something unreadable. Lena nodded quickly, already crouching to clean the mess, her hands shaking as she picked up the broken pieces. I'm sorry, she repeated over and over like a prayer. The man sat back down, silent. He glanced around the restaurant, noticing how quickly people looked away, how used everyone seemed to scenes like this. Then he reached into his wallet. Lena didn't see it yet, but whatever he was about to do would change more than just her night. Lena knelt on the floor, carefully gathering the broken glass as if each shard might cut deeper than her hands already had. Her heart pounded in her chest. She expected the manager to appear any second. Expected yelling, expected punishment. That was how these things usually ended. But instead she heard the man clear his throat. Please, he said gently. Stand up. Lena hesitated, then slowly rose to her feet, her eyes fixed on the floor. The restaurant remained silent, every table watching now. The man reached into his wallet and pulled out several bills. He placed them on the table, far more than the cost of a glass. This is for the drink, he said. And the mess. Lena shook her head quickly. Sir, I can't take that. I'll get in trouble. He gave a small, sad smile. You won't, trust me. Before she could respond, he signaled to the manager. A tense moment followed as the manager hurried over, already preparing an apology for the customer. There's no problem here, the man said firmly. The waitress did nothing wrong. The manager blinked, surprised. Of course, sir. Then the man did something no one expected. How much does she make in a day, he asked. The manager hesitated, uncomfortable. Minimum wage, sir. Plus tips. The man nodded and quietly added more money to the pile. This covers her wages for the week. A collective gasp rippled through the restaurant. Lena's eyes widened. Sir, please. I don't understand. He leaned closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. I grew up watching my mother beg people not to be angry with her. I promised myself I'd never be the man who scares someone just for making a mistake. Tears finally spilled down Lena's cheeks. The man stood, pulled out his business card and placed it gently in her hand. Call this number tomorrow, he said. I own a few restaurants. If you want a better schedule or a better job, I'll make it happen. Lena stared at the card, her hands trembling. Why are you doing this? She whispered. Because your kids shouldn't go hungry over a broken glass, he replied. He walked toward the door, pausing once more. And because kindness is free, but it's worth more than anything in my wallet. As the door closed behind him, the restaurant slowly returned to life. But Lena stood frozen, clutching the card, realizing that one moment of fear had turned into a moment of hope she would never forget. Lena barely slept that night. The business card rested on her nightstand like something unreal, Every few minutes, she reached out just to make sure it was still there. At dawn, her children stirred, asking the same question they asked every morning. "Mom, what's for breakfast?" Lena swallowed hard and then smiled. "For the first time in a while," she said softly, "we'll figure it out." She walked them to school and stood outside the building longer than usual, watching them disappear through the doors. Then she took a deep breath and dialed the number on the card. It rang once. "Hello," came the familiar voice. "This is Lena," she said nervously. "From the restaurant last night." "I was hoping you'd call," the man replied.
Can you come by my office today?
By noon, Lena sat in a quiet office overlooking the city. No shouting, no fear, just coffee and understanding. He listened as she spoke, really listened, as she told him about the double shifts, the unpaid bills, the nights her kids went to bed hungry. When she finished, he leaned back and nodded. "You don't need charity," he said. "You need stability." He offered her a position at one of his restaurants closer to her home. Better hours, fair pay, health benefits, and something Lena never expected, a small emergency fund for her family. Lena covered her mouth, tears falling freely. "I don't know how to thank you." "Pass it on," he said. "That's enough." Weeks later, Lena's life began to change in quiet ways. Groceries filled the fridge. Laughter returned to the apartment. Her children stopped asking fearful questions about money. One evening, her son looked up from his homework. "Mom," he said, "why are you smiling so much lately?" Lena knelt beside him. "Because someone saw me," she replied. And that made all the difference. Months later, Lena stood confidently in her new uniform, training new staff. Above the entrance hung a simple sign. "Mistakes are human. Kindness is required." She smiled every time she saw it. Because she knew now, hunger can be fed, fear can be healed, and sometimes one stranger's choice can change an entire future.